buenas. Welcome to Music Marketing TV. I'm Kevin Ochoa, and today we're going to look at a very different video in this series. This is where the series are going to take a little slight turn. In the past videos, we looked at mainly synthesizing things from scratch and making them fit a little bit together, mixing them a little bit. But now in this video, we're going to render out audio. I've rendered out basically all the tracks for the hardstyle song. I rendered them into FL Studio. First, I had them rendered in as patterns and whatnot, but then I figured I might as well just render them as multi-tracks, stereo multi-tracks, and then start mixing them in a different project and start to add more effects and the vocals that I was working on. So I want to show you the update for that track, and I also wanted to show you here as a beginning intro. As you can see, this is the first video in the series where we don't have Twin 3 on, the spotlight at the beginning of the track of the video. Instead, I have Acústica Premium, which is a very awesome audio editor, mastering suite, restoration suite. And I can start to analyze my music in much higher detail with this program. So from the get-go, we kind of see here that I've basically destroyed all the dynamics in the songs. Almost from the get-go, slowly but surely got louder and louder and louder, which in this genre of music, hardstyle, it's not a bad thing. It's just something that's kind of required. But I want to show you, besides the loudness, I want to show you spectral-wise how things have changed. Also, some reasons as to why we want to render audio out from our synthesizer from Twin 3 and start editing it manually. And in this video, we're going to just talk about treating those synthesizers, and also how to add more synths once you are kind of, already done with your main track. You want to add more sound effects, so we're going to add more sound effects. I'm going to synthesize a few more sound effects, and also I'm going to edit the kick drums in the song because they're, a little bit messed up in the earlier versions. And then with this new version, we're going to get them really, really tight and phase coherent. So let's go ahead and look at this first original version of the idea that I had for the song. Okay, so there we can appreciate how the song is, actually the low end's pretty nice and tight. The high end's missing a lot of detail though, and the punchiness is not there all the way through. But the idea is there for the song. There's this little riff that's playing on top of a cool bass kick, and we have some little a few little spaces that are left for like eventually adding sound effects and whatnot. So eventually we got to this right here now. So let's take a listen to the newer updated version.
Sorry, I hope to God you would have been all in.
Alright, so there you go. As you can hear, I implemented a lot of new things, like the vocals, the kick rolls, which came in with the previous version of the track that I shared with you in the previous video. As you can also hear the tempo change a bit, right? So for this earlier versions that I call the analog versions, because they're all running in real time, we're going to keep calling them that. These analog versions, you know, they have all these oscillations that oscillators are moving and a little bit different from one another. So, you know, not everything's super phase match, and we're going to fix that later. But a lot of the ideas there, a lot of the tone the track is built there in this version, the previous one to this video. Right, and then the version before that one, in the one that I shared, I think, in the second video, it sounds like a little something like this. So that's already implementing some of the percussion instruments, like the claps. Some other effects like white noise, but there was still some awkward stuff in there, like a pad. So yeah, it's not really, you know, that great. But for this part now that I have the full version, like right here, like already starting to get mixed and whatnot, and with vocals, it sounds so much better. Let's hear from the top here. So yeah, it's really, you know, much more thought out as a song and as a, you know, sound design, you know, from the sound design point of view. So, however, there's still a few different issues that I'm starting to see here, which is why I'm now using Acoustica to check the tracks. And that is, down here, we have some offset. You know, and it's quite obvious. And I can see here that it was not introduced with the first nor the second version, but it came in during the second version of the song. See that? Whereas the previous version, we didn't experience that issue. So there's something here that's really abbreviating the spectrum, or sorry, the phase relationship between the different channels, and it's causing one of the channels to be louder than the other. So that's something that I really need to fix. Now, I don't think I'm going to be able to fix this in this video, but I'll definitely look at it more on the next one with more time, because I'm not sure if it's coming from the synth or it's coming from the stem, so not the stem, but the multi-track output that I got, so something that's on the synth, or if it's something that I added on this version. So yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to go and dig a little deeper into later. But now because I'm rendered into audio, I can start to see these issues that are rising. So that's like the first big one that I see. Now the other one that I noticed, that just by ears earlier, was the phase issues with some of the kick drums. So there's fine. It's kind of the first kick. Sounds nice and punchy. But then the next one, kind of ducked. Same thing with that one. So they're not really that consistent. So they're, not that great. Now, if I use this plugin called Scope, I can get some really cool detail, and I can see this in real time while I'm sound designing. So I'm going to show you how to use this oscilloscope to check your phases when you're layering drums. And as you can see, this is something that kept happening in all these different versions of the song, up to like the one I worked in right now, because the phase is a little bit better on all these other ones. A little bit more cohesive throughout, and you can appreciate that. See that? They're much more consistent, whereas over here, they're a bit different. You see that waveform? It's a bit different, right? Every time there's a kick drum hit, it's a bit iffy. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix all that, and make sure that it's all nice and clean. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys that in this video. As you can see, I already fixed this part right here, so I'm gonna show you how to do that. I'm also gonna show you how to process some of the synths to make them fit a little bit better in the mix. So let's go ahead and hop over to FL Studio now, and play back the full version of this track now, or the digital full version of this track now, because like I said, we're going to keep the old versions in the EP, but we're going to call them the analog version, and this version that I'm going to play for you the rest of the video is going to be called the digital version. All right, let's go ahead and hop over to FL Studio. All right, so here I'm in FL Studio, and as you can see, I have all these rendered tracks now that are in audio, and I'm going to show you why it's important, even if you're just working with synths, to render into audio. It's imperative that you do this. You cannot simply, look over this issue. It's something that you need to see, because there's going to be phase issues. There's going to be clicking pops that you need to fix, even if you're working with synthesizers. It's still recording. You're not recording vocals, you're not recording acoustic instruments per se, but you're recording a amplified signal, a signal that's running through different envelopes, different filters, different effects, and there's going to be modulation and dynamics in there. So you still need to render your stuff out. Okay, so as you can see here, I have roughly 35-ish original pieces of audio, and I modified a few of them. So as you can see there's some that are doubled up and whatnot, but there's roughly 35 original pieces of audio. 32. And then after that we have, oh no, it is 35. Yeah, and then after that we have some drums, okay, that I added, synthesized, and a few more effects, because we need to add more effects into this track, even after the version I showed you last week, or in the last video. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play this back. I'm just going to run an analyzer, and I'm going to open up some of the twin threes that we're using here, and let's play back.
God, you would have been all in. I'm tired of the lies, I wanna see you fight for us. Find a way to make it up and maybe ease the pain. Ease the pain. Hey, 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 hey. Ease the pain. You know it hurts even when you're sorry. I hope to God you would have been all in. I'm tired of the lies, I wanna see you fight for us. I'm tired of the lies.
All right, so there we go. That's the track, how it sounds out. Vastly different than the previous versions. And yeah, it's something that I'm really looking forward to once it's finished. Of course, the main thing you're going to notice with this new version is that there are vocals.
Is it really love? Is it really love? Or am I just naive, falling for the same things?
And I really, really wanted to change this one a bit using some shifting with Saturn II's breakdown module.
Is it really love? Is it really love? Or am I just naive, falling for the same things?
It sounds so darn good. And I wanted to pair up with Manipulator to pitch it back up.
Is it really love? Is it really love? Or am I just naive, falling for the same things? Is it really love?
Is it really love? Or am I just naive, falling for the same things? Is it really love? Is it
really love? Or am I just naive? Is it really love? Is it really love? Or am I just naive, falling for the same things?
Yeah, it sounds really good. But the original one was just fine. It was, smack good already.
Is it really love? Is it really love? Or am I just naive, falling for the same things?
So I added some timeless with some changes and used the slapback 16th note preset. And I think I changed it just a tiny bit.
Is it really love? Is it really love?
Applied some EQ, Saturn II.
Is it
Sorry,
really?
Pro C2. I don't know why it's named here. Saturn II probably replaced it. I have a pretty bounce because I automate the different parts of the vocal throughout the song.
Is it really love?
Because I didn't want that to be completely loud.
Is it really?
I wanted to get it a little bit away. And then finally there's a Pro R here. And this is using the Choir Harp preset with a slight bit of modifications. So yeah, change a little bit. Well, not too much. All right. So that's the vocals. I chopped them up quite a bit. I layered them. Like I said, I tried different ones before, and these are the ones I stuck with the most. They might not have to do the most with the original version of the song. That was kind of like a party song. But I think it fit a little bit more. And if I do need to change some of the notes in the melody, I'll go ahead and do that. But for right now, to show you this update, I think it's really good. I created some effects here with them too during the drops. And of course, I'm layering them with the second version of them as well.
You know it hurts even when you're sorry.
I'm still not sure about this little glitch right here.
You know it hurts. You know it hurts. You know it hurts even.
Right?
You know it hurts even when you're sorry. You know it hurts even when you're sorry.
But you know, it's one of those things where I'm gonna work it out. But yeah, I grabbed like two different versions of the vocal. There's one where it's talking about love, and the other one's like, oh, I feel like, you know, like you owe me something, like, you know, like you didn't, you know, put all your commitment into the relationship. So I thought it was quite good that it worked together.
You know it hurts even when you're sorry. I hope to God you would have been all in. I'm tired of the lies. I wanna see you fight for us.
Yeah. Sometimes these splice vocals are like, eh. And I think these are quite good. Of course, it'd be nicer if they sung a little bit more about the same topic within the same sample pack so you can match things up. But you know, you gotta work with what you have. And for this, I was either going for a party track, or in this case, this surprised me because there's some parts here where it actually flows quite well with some of the melody stuff, like right here.
Is it really love? Is it really love? Or am I just naive, falling for the same things?
Like I feel like that fits quite well. Also right here before the plucks.
You know it hurts even when you're sorry. I hope to God you would have been all in. I'm tired of the lies. I wanna see you fight for us.
I had it chopped a few different ways. I think I had chopped it like this before.
I'm tired of the lies. I wanna see you fight for us.
And I had also made it a little bit more delayed.
I'm tired of the lies. I wanna see you fight for us.
And I think it's pretty well. They're pretty valid. However, with this one, I feel like you leave a little bit of...
See you fight for us.
A little bit of space for that reverb to build in. So yeah, it's quite cool. But now, for the new synthesized portions of the track, really important, this little sound effect right here. And I think that just saved my butt because I was having a really hard time connecting some parts of the track, like right here. Without it sounds a little weird. But with it now, it definitely stops sounding so awkward.
Is it really love? Is it?
Yep. So I quite enjoy that. Yeah, I really liked it a lot. Originally, it was just gonna be right here for the break part right here.
You know it hurts even when you're sorry. I hope to God you would have been all in. I'm tired of the lies.
And what I want to do is create like a little, kind of like a hardcore type of thing. So let me just clone this, or just make a new one from scratch. Just do twin 3. And let's see, let's close it. Let's see if I can recreate it with just these guys. So high quality, and it was an envelope generator. Let's give it that many seconds. Put this back. And I'm gonna modulate the I'm gonna modulate the filter right here. I'm sorry, not the filter, the pitch envelope. Let's see, let's press T. Let me just copy paste this over. Cut, paste. Okay. Not quite there yet. Right?
I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Right? But once you run it through some processing, let's put it through, it's channel 41, I think.
I'm tired of the.
You get that delay ambience and a bit of EQ, some saturation with the stay of my whammy preset, which is pretty nice. Without it, it actually works quite well. So it's not like it's changing it too much. But it's definitely adding a little bit of flavor. Hear that? You could almost say it's kind of making it sound detuned, which is kind of interesting. It is. It's the breakdown module. I didn't realize that. It's very interesting. Okay. And because it doesn't have to drive all the way up, it's just pitch gliding. Okay. So if you want it, I mean, I guess it would sound better without it now. Because it'll stay in pitch. but I thought, at first I thought it was a pretty cool variation on it. And because its rate's changing every time. See that? Okay, that's quite cool. I didn't even realize that. Alright, so that's quite cool. But yeah, little variations, you can just record them over and over again and just chop them down and put them in a different part of the track. But for my case, I just wanted to have that transition effect right there. And I thought that did a pretty good job.
Even when you're sorry, I hope to God you would have been all in.
Okay, let's put it back to the Twin 3 that we had. Paste. Add it back in there. And I think, in my case, it didn't have any filters on it.
I'm tired of the I'm tired.
Let's see if I lowered it down.
I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of. I'm tired. I'm tired. I'm.
Let's see. Let me do 3 voices of a detune.
I'm tired of. I'm tired. I'm tired.
And I think that's pretty close. Let's go back to the original one.
I'm tired of.
Oh, that original one had 16 voices. Okay, let's see, 16.
I'm tired of. I'm tired. I'm tired of the laugh.
Alright, so there you go. If you add the 16 voices or more voices and not using spread it, it'll definitely sound a little bit more hardcore-ish, like a little old school type of a rave sound.
I'm tired of the. I'm tired.
Which is kind of what I was alluding to when I wanted to design it, but I didn't want it to go completely there, because I wanted to make the lead sound the things like, like the biggest part of the track. I just wanted this to be like a little smooth into the actual drop or the next part of the song, So I think I accomplished that with the original sound effect I made. Let's delete this twin. Okay. And there's some timeless in there with a little bit of boosting on the feedback or in the on the EQ right here, and which will give you some boosting the feedback.
I'm tired of the lie.
Without it, everything fades away much quicker. But with it, the decay on it is much lower. And of course, I'm using some reverb, and I use a huge synth space preset, yeah, which is huge sounding. Yeah, so it's quite cool. Yeah, so that's like the little sound effect that I added. That, I mean, to me, it helped me so much. Like, I was really struggling putting some of these ideas together, especially with the vocal. And like this synth shout out or like little stab call really makes it how do you say a bit more fresh, and not monotonous. Next up, here's some other sound effects. Okay, so for this one, it's quite simple. It's in this case, it's gonna be a few different oscillators. There's a ramp up to the main level for almost like 400 milliseconds, and there's a release of 900 milliseconds. There's an LFO on the master tune, which is creating a little wiggle on the pitch, and that is being modulated by an envelope generator. So it only plays back or only vibrates a certain amount during a certain time. If I were to change that, or change this position, the sound changes quite drastically. But what I did was I just had it mapped up so that roughly a beat in, the wiggle will be over, and the straight line, or not the straight line, the vibrato line would come in. Right? So it's smooth in. I could probably bring it back a tiny bit more. And that would probably fit up the track a little bit better.
You know it hurts even when you're sorry. You know it hurts even when you're sorry. I hope to. You know it hurts even when you're sorry.
Okay. And then, of course, the oscillators are really important on this. If you have something that's a little bit more sinusoidal, it will sound like this.
You know it hurts even when you're sorry.
Let me just mute it. Oh man, this synth is so clean. But anyway, yeah, I could go on a tangent about that, which I will right now, but in a few seconds. But here we go. Once we have a sawtooth, sounds like that. It's really clean. I actually ended up taking the effects I added off, and keeping the reverb, the chorus, and the compression built into it. Okay. Now I want to show you a couple things here, which are quite interesting. So if I take out the high quality off, we can see here that there's some aliasing, that tiny bit of it. Now check this out. So once I introduce this filter, there's a bit more aliasing. If I change this to different type, there won't be aliasing. So keep that in mind. The clean one will have a little bit of aliasing, but the classic one will have the most. So it's really interesting to going through these filters and seeing what they sound like. Let's go another one. That one had like, it was pretty clean and then boom, it clicked. See that? Let's see the next one. Interesting. Oh, that one's interesting. See how much of it came down? Okay. And then there's extreme. Pretty clean even though it's extreme, and then clean. Alright. But if we go back to classic, there's some aliasing. So I'm guessing this is like emulating a classic digital filter, which does have aliasing. So that's pretty interesting. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see the manual pops up here in a second. No, it's not popping up. Okay, let's see if I just do this. Okay. The filter style button selects between different filter characteristics, changing the sound of the filter from smooth to aggressive and anything in between. The clean style is different from the others because it does not introduce any distortion or non-linearity, which was the case as we saw. Try to load the clean preset and try every filter style to get a good idea of the differences in sound. They're particularly different with higher peak values. So it's interesting. Yeah, I guess if we did this then. Okay, it's kicking the high quality mode. Oh, this is very interesting. We can see all the aliasing. But yeah, this is like a deeper dive into the actual oscillation section. I mean the filter section from Twin. So I'm not sure if the aliasing strictly from the oscillator, because there's some aliasing there already. But remember, these, if this was a sine wave, there'd be no issues, right? But because we have a saw wave that's going above the Nyquist, we are having some of that. So what I originally thought was, okay, I'll just put a filter and get rid of that. Kind of works. But there's still some effect there from the actual fact that we have a saw. If we change it to a square, let's see. A little bit cleaner. So maybe not using the square and using the triangle wave will maybe give us a cleaner sound for the track. Let's take a listen. Out of the chorus and reverb.
Even when you're sorry, I hope to God. It hurts even when you're sorry.
Interesting, yeah. So I think that definitely is a cleaner sound compared to the Sawtooth, like that.
It hurts even when you're sorry.
Yeah, it feels like it's more defined. I don't know if you guys let me know. I feel like it's more defined.
It hurts even when you're sorry.
Yep, I like that.
To God you would.
So yeah, that was a big tangent on aliasing and whatnot. Okay. So then, okay, the next thing we're going to look at is going to be this little effect right here. This one's really simple. There's a little pitch envelope. On the detuned and the level. And then over here's on the master tune. A little bit of drive. Oh, not a little bit, like 20% of drive. There's timeless 3 and another timeless 3. One doing, let's see, this one's doing quarter note and this one is doing 16th note delay. And I have Pro R2 with the huge synth space preset. Yeah, so it's quite how do you say it? Different than the original. That's just all I got from the synth itself. I mean, I could have done some of this within the synth. Okay, but it'd be a pretty close thing, but not exactly the same, right? Because right here I'm stacking one timeless 3 past the other, so it's creating this quarter note delay, and then on top of that the 16th note, so it's a little bit different. So subtle things like that really do change your sound effects.
Even when you're sorry, I hope even when you're sorry.
Yeah, it's just I can't hear it anymore. But with this,
It hurts even when you're sorry. I hope to God you would have. It hurts even when you're sorry. It hurts even when you're sorry. I hope to God you. It hurts even when you're sorry. I hope to God you would have been all in. I'm tired of the lies. I wanna see you fight for us.
okay, I'm gonna hop over now to the kick section to show you what I've done to make the kicks a bit better, a bit more processed. All right, so here I want to show you what I did with my kick drum. Really easy things. First of all, here I have the first intro kick drum, and I have a little plugin called Scope. You don't really need this guy. You can just use a scope of your choice. It could be a wave candy. You just set it to oscilloscope. I just found that for me, scope works a little bit better. I know people have made it look a pretty good spot on, but I have a hard time setting up the scope from Wave Candy. I don't know why. yeah, I never really got it to like look like really realistic to me. It always looks kind of strange. So I don't typically use it. I just typically just use the spectrum analyzer from Wave Candy, which is my favorite. Let me just reset this. Oh. This is about as good as I can get it to look like. But yeah, to me it's kind of hard to look at. So I'd rather just use this for my spectrum. Okay, so let's put this guy away for a second and let's focus on over here. So as we can hear and see now, my phases are going to get really misaligned when I'm working on this. Also note that I put the phase scope before the my compression limiting, just so I can see the waveform going into the limiter and to the dynamics processors I have on the master channel. Now, let me show you the version I have of the kicks on the actual track. Let's put the phase scope again. So it's much more consistent. There is one thing now that I'm assessing, is that the kick body, since it's running through distortion, I need to render that out and then get the one that's best spacing line and just copy paste it. But if I were to mute that, if I look at the kick and the talk, they still pretty good together. So yeah, just make sure you go ahead and fix that. And to do so, let's go ahead and show you here with the arrangement. What I ended up doing was I looked for the kick drums, which had the you could do the best shape. You could use one of these ones. You could use this guy. Just depends on what you want to do. In my case, I chose this guy because I liked the little envelope it had, and I knew it had like a dip, but I thought that was fine. However, now that I'm thinking about it, I think this one might be better suited to do everything. So let me just go ahead and show you how I were to work through that. So I'd go ahead and delete all these kicks and just start copy pasting them over. And then for these ones that have a two-step or double hit, I'll just, go ahead and move them right along and paste this as well. So this is pretty simple to do. It's a little time consuming, but it just makes it so much easier to mix later, and will save you a lot of headache. Let's go ahead and close these. And you'll see here how fast this pays off, because it doesn't take too long for it to start sounding great. Okay, so I'm just going to do that part, and then I'll fix the other ones right now. So let me show you without the effects. Actually, more realistically, I should have showed you this like here. Let me play this back without any of the effects processing on the talk or anything. Yeah, so you can see there, it's every hit is like wildly different. So yeah, let's just fix this part here, and then we'll compare it to the rest. So first up, with the talk, what they're doing was applied effects to it, right? And then I just cut the first hit, and I copied it, or not copied it, I recorded it with Edison. All right, so I'm gonna solo this, and then put an Edison right here, and just copy it, or sorry, record it. Then I went ahead and edit this like so. Boom, and I could bring it in here, and I can replace this guy now. And now every time I have a hit, I just place it there. Okay. And for this one, I just double. Oh, just that one. Okay. So far, this would sounds like now. I can still hear right there. There's some things I need to fix, like the bass, right? So without that, without the bass, we have a pretty clean set of hits now. Okay. Now what I could do here for this kick drum, I can go through different different versions of that kick simply by using the S tool inside of FL, the slide tool. See that? I just highlight these though. Kind of see here that I'm also accidentally crossfaded some of these hits in. Let's go ahead and fix that. There we go. There you go. Now we have a pretty nice and tight kick right there, compared to this over here, which is probably a mess. And let's mute the edits I made to the kick punch. Right? Very different. So the other thing you could do inside of Twin to fix this stuff is coming inside the settings here and changing the sync type there. Okay, so that's really important. It works quite well, but when you're layering 3 different sounds together, it could get a little hectic. So that's why I ended up rendering. Now, in the first versions of the track, the kick was rock solid because I had all these facings turned on whenever I layered the kick within itself. But once I started layering another click, another punch, and another supporting crunch bass on top of it, it got messy. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm fixing all that with the audio. Right? So that's, you know. I think I prefer this one. Okay. And then for the body thing right here, I ended up doing a few things. If you can hear here, There's some weird effects, and that's because there's not enough time for it to reset, for the synth itself to reset. So what I just ended up doing was I cut this guy out, or this guy right here in this case, and just copied him over a few times like so. See it? So I could just do this. And that sounds much better. Okay. And in my case, I did actually a little bit of sliding over here. So it just depends on what you want to do. So I ended up doing that in my version. In my digital version of the track. You can see right here. And not only that, but I'm also on the processing that I have. I have a Pro C2, which is getting a bit of sidechain from a signal. Saturn 2. To get me some more high-end information. And Tantrum, it's one of the few third-party VSTs I use here. And you could probably have achieved this just layering the same Twin 3 sound over itself and then just changing the positioning of it slightly. But in this case, Tantrum's pretty good at doing all that within just one instance of the plugin, so I like to use it for that. It saves me a little bit of time. And there's a Pure Q3. To clean up the mid-range in the sound and also the sub. So yeah, so now the other parts of the kick drum can actually come in and flow nicely. Without this, it'll be a bit too dramatic. Yeah, it's much more harmonious and easy on the speakers and on our human ears. And then after that EQ, there's a volcano. And as you can see here, it's doing like some side chaining. Why? Because I have a Saturn 2 that's processing and if sound that had already came with a little bit of reverb on it. There's a little bit of reverb on it. So when I'm distorting it with Saturn 2, it's boosting all that reverb up too. So I'm doing with the Volcano is doing a bit of side chaining here. I'm just using an XLFO to modulate the level. And this is something, again, I do with Twin 3. Let me show you this. Boom, boom. And press F4. Bass. And if I go to Kanochoa, reverse bass, or each 4 steps, then place it. I'm doing the same exact effect with XLF over here. See that? It's pretty nifty trick. But in this case, I'm doing this with volcano. And the cool thing I did here is I automated the X LFO so I could change the frequency offset to make it twice as fast. Right, so when these kick in, boom, it goes into twice speed. So I'm able to get some cool glitches like here. Without it, it's gonna sound a bit weird. With it, it's perfectly fine. And actually okay, I lost my position. Okay, for this one, probably should do this and then go back to 50%. Copy value, paste value, right? See how that reacts really great to automation? So yeah, it's pretty cool way to work, in my opinion. I thought I was gonna get away with not having to render to audio, but I do have to render to audio after I saw what's happening with the oscilloscope and the rest of the kicks here. There's a bit of change here, and if we look really into the detail, it could be up to, like, you know, it could be the bass, it could be the talk knock coming in. Could be many different things, but for now, I'm gonna leave it for that. I just want to share with you progress on that part of the actual kick drums. Okay, let's go back to this right here, supporting bass. So on top of using the crunch, I want to add a supporting bass in this case, and it's twin 3. So I just have 2 oscillators. Actually a third one here. I have a square wave and 2 sawtooth. I'm using 4 voices of unison, a bit of spread, and it's just playing out entirely in the spectrum. Right? Once I activate it, there's quite a few different processes. First of all, there's an EQ to cut off a lot of the low end and the mid range. Because this is playing during the drop, so I don't want to collide it with the bass. If I were to leave it, it would sound like this. Right? It sounds bogus. So, turn on. Good, but it's still sustained, right? So then I'm gonna add a bit of distortion. A bit of warm tape to make it a little bit more crispy. And then another set of EQs. Right, because I can still see some of that low end right there. And even with the visualizer. It's on like 70 dB, but that could cause phase issues, so I took it off. Okay, and then I have Volcano, do my sidechain trick. And what I did was I just mapped it to the same automation clip as the other Volcano to save myself time. And then there's a Pro C2 that's being triggered by the talk. right? Making it, you know, a bit more side-chained effect-like. And then there's a Pro R2. Quite good. Okay. So those are all the processes I did. Let me put the talk back in here. And together with all the drums and the kicks. This gives a bit of crispiness. And with the lead, it just pairs up pretty well. Like if I didn't point that out, you could barely hear it. But if once you take it off, it definitely changes the track a bit. Then with all the effects. Okay, so that's pretty good. Now the processing on the leads changes quite a bit for me. I'm not sure whether there's that clicking right there. Could be that phasing issue I'm telling you about. Yeah, because it keeps happening. So for this, let's try one more Q3. The other thing that I could kind of give it a shot at would be let's see. I already tried to remove the DC offset, and that didn't work. Okay, let's go to the audio editor. Where am I? Okay. Yeah, that click is definitely coming from that. I'll probably fix that in the next video and I'll show you guys because I'm really out of ideas of how to do that now. But yeah, so now I know that there's this issue and I need to assess it. Yeah, I'll probably give it a go with Acoustica and see what results I get. But you kind of see the little pop right there too. Right? Oh, which is what I was going to say as well, that with audio editing, or once I have this rendered, I don't have these issues, right, that I had in the track, where that little thing bugs you, right? And that's getting in the way. You might not hear completely, but if you have a subwoofer, you can feel it. And once it's in a bigger club system, it's something that you really don't want.
You know it hurts even when you're sorry. I hope to God you would have been all.
Right?
You know it hurts.
And you can definitely see it there now.
You know it hurts even.
See, it comes in before the actual kick drum.
You know it hurts even when. You know it hurts.
See, that's a little bit cleaner. If we mute this guy.
You know it hurts.
And this guy.
You know it hurts
See
even
it?
when you.
A bit cleaner, we put this back in there and it's going to be a bit messy.
You know it hurts even. You know it hurts even.
Right? So keep that in mind.
You know it hurts even when you're sorry. I hope to God you would have been all in. I'm tired.
For this lead, I did a little bit more EQ. A bit of compression. Standard clip, which was the other plugin that I used that's not fabfilter. So I've used 2 plugins so far in my processing that's not fabfilter. Oh, and the Fruity Balance. So yeah, for the most part, everything's been fabfilter in all these videos. I'll probably do something to try to remove these plugins. I know I could use Pro L to replace some of this clipping. Not all of it, but some of it. And I know that with Tantrum, I could just render the track out and then change the phase shift on it. So yeah, I think I'll do that. But for now, what we're going to do is just call it a day. It's been, you know, really in depth getting into this track now. Probably the one that we've worked on the most at this point. And there's a clear improvement. It's massive improvement. Once again, I want to thank you for being here with us at Music Marketing TV. Thanks for sticking out throughout the video. I want to make sure to let you guys know that we really deeply appreciate that. And if you could support us by subscribing to the channel and checking out the links that we have in the description for Twin 3, we'd really appreciate it. Also, make sure you ring the notification bell so you stay up to date for any other video content that we upload to this channel. Thanks for being here with us at Music Marketing TV. I'm Kevin Ochoa, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.